Hello everyone, I made this entire truck out of plasticine, and it's not just a model, it's a detailed replica of a real Kenworth W900. I made it in 1:24 scale and its length is a whole 38 centimeters. It turned out to be heavy, weighing almost a kilogram. At first glance, you might think it's just a regular store-bought model. But in reality, there isn't a single ready-made part here. Everything is handmade from scratch, from the frame to the smallest elements. Besides, it can actually move. Yes, the wheels are made of modeling clay and they can spin freely. Are you curious how I made all of this? Then keep watching the video where I'll explain everything in detail. And you can already watch the full video about the process of making this truck on my channel. Click the card above or the link in the description. So, let's start with the materials. What did I use to make all of this with my own hands? Let's start with the most basic material, modeling clay. I used NSP hard, which is quite firm and holds its shape very well for sculpting detailed models like this. I also used regular colored modeling clay, which I applied to cover the finer details. I covered the entire body with a thin layer. I didn't paint the model. The red color was achieved specifically by using a thin layer of clay. But as for the many chrome elements, that's actually paint. For that, I used a special marker, liquid glass, which does a great job of imitating chrome. The most important part of this truck is its frame. Everything is built on it. That's why I reinforced it with wire, so it could handle the massive weight of 900 grams and not sag. I used thinner wire to make the mirrors and the trim for outlining the doors. And I also used super glue to firmly bond all the parts together so they would hold as a single structure. And to make the windows, I used transparent plastic. I made the exhaust pipes out of drinking straws, simply painting them chrome. I reinforced the cab walls with cardboard so they would stay straight and not sag. Inside the cab, there's also detailing, a seat, a steering wheel, a huge central panel with details for each of its buttons, interior space, and a sleeping area. All of this isn't just for show, it's fully developed. The frame deserves special attention. It was the most difficult part of the whole job. It had to be made straight, strong, and able to withstand a heavy load. That's why I reinforced it several times. I strengthened it with wire because the more details I added, the more it sagged. The same goes for the working chassis. Detailing all the suspension elements required special attention. To make the wheels rotate, I inserted bushings into the middle of the pivot beam from the rear axles, threaded wire through them, and then put the wheels onto the wire. This way, the wheels can rotate freely. And of course, there were some modifications. I lengthened the frame and moved the rear axle further back because it was originally too short, which ruined the whole look of the truck. But I realized this when I started shaping the cab. With the extended frame, it looks just right, and I'm glad I redid it, even though it wasn't easy. Shaping the cab was easier because it consists of large flat elements, and to keep all the dimensions and proportions correct, I used blueprints. Now let's open the hood and take a look at the engine. To sculpt it, I used Beam and G-Drive, since in that game it's easier to look at everything from all sides and understand where each part needed to go. If I were working from original photos, it would take too long and be too complicated. I used the same method to make the entire frame, the axles, the suspension, and all this detailing. I viewed everything in the game the same way. And I studied the appearance of the truck cab itself in the game American Truck Simulator. With other models, it looks natural. You can immediately see the scale. It turned out to be the right size, not smaller, not bigger, exactly in 1:24 scale, just like these models on the table. All this difficult work took me a month and a half. That's over 100 hours spent working on this truck. And I really like what I ended up with. Despite all the difficulties, the model turned out to be very accurate and detailed. I made the truck both for my collection and to use in the game. In crash tests, it will crash into cars and vice versa. I made the bumper very strong so it will easily withstand these collisions. And since there's no crash test model yet, it will sit on the shelf with the other models and be pleasing to the eye. It would also be nice to make a trailer for it, but then I wouldn't have anywhere to put this whole setup. I barely managed to fit it on the shelf as it is. Maybe I'll make a trailer in the future. I really enjoyed working on making the trucks. It was interesting and I liked them. The result turned out great. In a way, it was a break from passenger cars, which I've already made a lot of, and I would gladly make another similar truck. Write in the comments if you would like to see more trucks on my channel and which model I could make next time. That's it for now, goodbye. See you in the next video about restoring a crashed Nissan GTR. Yes, I decided to restore it after many years. So subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Also, like and leave comments. Thank you all for watching. Goodbye everyone.